What's up guys, the other day I made a video about the FAMAS and how to use it for CQB running and gunning. And today I'm gonna go over the medic class without going into any gameplay specifics like I did in the previous video. With this video I'll go over the best weapons the medic class has to offer. So I chose my top 5 favorite weapons for medium to long range engagements. Therefore I won't be testing them out using the suppressor because that's a subject for another close quarters guide video. Also, the reason why I didn't choose any burst fire weapons is because I personally like to control my weapon and burst fire won't allow me to fully do so. Also, the time between bursts can get you killed or suppressed sooner than later. So that's why I'm not a big fan of burst fire weapons. Anyway, I'll also go over a few things about what to look for in a weapon for specific gameplay type. So my favorite top 5 weapons are the M16, which is a really versatile weapon which fits in lots of different gameplay types. One of them, medium to long range engagements. I also chose the M416, which is a fairly good weapon because of its specs being really similar to the ones of the M16A3. I'll also go over the AK-74M, which is a really nice weapon for medium to long range engagements without being really aggressive. Another really great weapon that I'll go over will be the AEK-971. And finally, the L85A2, which is also a great weapon. So keeping in mind that this is a tutorial for medium to long range engagements, I chose a place on Gulf of Oman that actually has the optimal distance between medium to long range engagements. So lots of videos out there with tutorials on attachments and weapons are shooting at walls like 3 to 4 feet away from them. That won't be effective. You need to test the weapons, the spread of the weapons and the recoil when you're shooting downrange, especially for medium to long range engagements. So this is what I did. I went under the bridge like a troll and tested the weapon from more or less 30 to 40 meters distance, which is the optimal distance you want to use these weapons on every other map. So now that you know the actual distance I tested the weapons, I'm gonna tell you the 5 different fire modes I used to test them. The first one is 2 bursts of 15 bullets each, full auto, with of course controlling the recoil. The second one is several bursts from 3 to 4 bullets. The other one is tap firing the weapon, giving only 1 shot at a time, but as fast as possible. So it's basically tap firing. The next is a mix between tap firing and burst firing. The last one is a mix between tap firing and burst firing while sidestepping, which is really important. You need to know how the weapon behaves when you're moving and shooting at the same time while aiming down the sights. So now that you guys know the fire modes I used, I'm gonna fill you in on the specific attachments I used for the weapons. I tested every weapon that I talked about with foregrip and flash suppressor, foregrip and heavy barrel, flash suppressor only and heavy barrel only. So after I did the same testing for all the weapons with all the sets of attachments, I got a buttload of results, which I then analyzed, and according to 2 specific details about the weapons, which were the rounds per minute and the reload time, and the results the attachments had on the spread of the weapon. For each individual weapon, I chose the best set of attachments that had the best results on the spread. For example, the AEK-971 would have better results while using the flash suppressor and the foregrip, while the M416, for example, would achieve better results with foregrip and heavy barrel. And this is the list I came up with. Let me just give you a little tour about what's what on this list. So right here on the left we have the fire modes, the 5 different fire modes I used: 15 bullet spray, 3 to 4 bullet bursts, tap firing single shot, tap fire and burst shot, and finally tap fire plus burst shot and sidestepping. And you have the recoil resulting of each individual weapon with each individual attachments. On the right side you have the specific weapon with the specific loadouts, for example here with the specific attachments. For example here on the top right, the featured weapon is the AEK-971 with foregrip and flash suppressor. Then we have the AK-74M with foregrip and flash suppressor, and so on. One more thing, on the fire mode part of the list, I highlighted with a green square behind the spread of the weapon the best result that weapon achieved. So if we compare all these 5 weapons together, the AK-74M, for example, is the best one for 3 to 4 bullet bursts, while the L85A2 is the best one for tap firing and burst firing while sidestepping. The M16A3 is the best one for single shot tap firing, and finally the M416 is the best weapon for tap firing and burst firing at the same time. So let's just go through some of the conclusions I came up with after testing the weapons. Let's start off with the AK-971. So this weapon has a 900 rounds per minute, which is a really fast rate of fire. The only downside is reload time, which is 2.65 seconds. After testing this weapon with all the attachments, this one was definitely the best one, with the foregrip and the flash suppressor. This weapon has a really good burst fire accuracy for the speed of the firing rate it has. So my thoughts are that it's a good weapon for close quarters combats dealing with multiple enemies with aggressive gameplay. Next we have the AK-74M. The best results I got was using the flash suppressor and foregrip. The downside of the weapon is that it has a low rate of fire and a slow reload time, which makes this weapon not friendly at all for close quarters combat. So it's definitely the best choice for 3 to 4 burst fire shots. The first shots of this weapon with this loadout land exactly to where you're pointing, which is really good to pick targets fast from a distance. It's also really good for tap firing. So my thoughts are that it's a good weapon to stand ground from a vantage point, defending and picking targets from a distance. So this is definitely the weapon you want to use when you are defending a specific position, downrange. Next on the list we have the L85A2 with foregrip and heavy barrel. This weapon is really similar to the AK-47, but the best thing about this weapon is the speed you move while you're aiming down the sights. So this is really a must if you want to move around more often. But also, don't forget that its slow rate of fire and the long reload time makes this weapon not friendly for close quarters encounters. So it's a good weapon for long range engagements because of both the very accurate tap firing the weapon has and the accurate firing while you are sidestepping. Next we have the M16A3, which is, on my opinion, it's still the best weapon overall. It has a really good rate of fire with 800 rounds per minute. The reload time is insanely fast, which makes this weapon really versatile. You can use it in close quarters because you won't lose much time reloading the weapon and picking at the target. The best thing about this weapon was the tap firing in single shot. It's really accurate. I talked about the fast reload and the high rate of fire. The bad things, the downside is that the accuracy of this weapon when you are aiming down the sights and moving around while firing at the same time, the accuracy is really messed up, so it's not the weapon you want to use for that. So my final thoughts about this weapon is that it's a good weapon overall, fits close, medium and long range fights. Its damage over the rounds per minute ratio makes this a good weapon for aggressive gameplay, really good weapon. Finally we have the M416 with foregrip and heavy barrel. This weapon is really similar to the M16A3, but it has slightly less rounds per minute and reload takes slightly more time. But that's not a problem. This weapon is still the best weapon for mixing tap fire with burst fire. It's a very accurate weapon. It also has a good reload time, as I said before, and it's definitely a good choice for running and gunning from medium to long range fights. The downside is that it's slightly worse than the M16A3 overall, but it's still better tap firing and burst firing. So that's it. I'm gonna post the final list on the video description. I hope you guys enjoyed this and found this video useful. Again, this guide was for medium to long range engagements. I'll cover the close quarters combats and the best attachments for close quarters combat on the upcoming videos. Please guys, like the video, subscribe for more, and don't be shy, just ask away if you have any questions about any weapons, any loadouts, any gameplay style. Just ask on the comment section below and I'll answer you as soon as possible. Cheers guys.